The schools are broken up, but you won't want to miss going back to the classroom to see a highly original and very funny play, written and performed by Donal Coonan. Now, it's part of the Camden Fringe, and the title is Mr. Grebe is taking your class today. Now, the venue is the Camden Comedy Club, 100 Camden High Street, Northwest 1. It's at 8 p.m. on 31st of July and 1st and 2nd of August. Tickets are just £7 or £5 for concessions. To book, you can follow the link bit.ly /power to supply teachers. And I'm pleased to welcome Donal Coonan. Donal, lovely to speak to you.
Oh, lovely to speak to you, Jerry.
Right, now, Donal, despite the fact that you'd have to delve quite far back in the family tree to great-grandparents for your Irish roots, they're firmly there since you have a very Irish name, as have many of your family down through the generations. Can you rattle off the names of your father and uncles and which counties they were from?
Okay, so my dad is called Kieran. I've got uncles called Brendan and Rory, and my sister's just had she's got two daughters, and one of them is called Neve. And so, it's just the Irish roots just seem to just keep on coming up through the generations, really.
Excellent. Now, you had a memorable time in Ireland, seeing it in a great way, working the land, hitchhiking, and you visited a fishing harbour for a particular reason. Give us the lowdown on the time you spent in Ireland.
Yeah, so this was when I was at university, and I spent some time in Bantry, and I was doing something called woofing, which sounds a bit strange. It actually stands for Willing Workers on Organic Farms. And so I was staying in Bantry for a while, helping on this organic farm. And then I hitchhiked to a harbour called Coonan. My surname's Coonan, and I just saw this place on the map as a adventurous 21-year-old and just thought, I'll hitchhike to Coonan. And it was literally in the middle of nowhere. And there was about one fisherman and then me. I went all the way back to my family roots, but I only found one fisherman who I didn't approach because I think he might have thought I was a bit strange.
Right.
But yeah.
That was in County Kerry. Now, moving on to the play, you're a graduate of Oxford University and now work as a tutor of primary school children and enjoy interacting with them. Now, the fact that you've been adaptable led you to consider the role of a supply teacher, going into schools, having to be ready for anything. And of course, pupils may see it as a cue to take their foot off the pedal when the regular teacher is absent. But your character is a man on a mission. Remind us of the name of the play and give us some overview.
Yeah, so the play is called Mr. Grebe is taking your class today, and basically it is a supply teacher going through an existential breakdown and on a mission to teach his class everything there is to know. So his aim is to cover all the subjects in 1 hour and leave his students in the know of everything there is to know.
Okay, so
and in the process, his private life unravels.
Right, am I right in thinking that the play has evolved from skits during stand-up routines, and you've developed it now into a 60-minute version audiences will see?
That's it. I mean, I trained about 8 years ago now in a school in Paris. It was a clown school, and some of the previous graduates include people like Sacha Baron Cohen. And really what we were encouraged to do at that school was to go up on stage and try and make an audience laugh without much preparation at all. So I have been, over the past few years, going to open mic nights in London with a very rough idea of something that I'm going to do, but then doing quite a lot of improvising. And if I try something and the audience doesn't like it or they don't find it funny, then just trying something else. And over the last few years, I've managed to put together a number of skits which have worked. And then with my character of Mr. Grebe, who's a supply teacher, I've been able to put them into a kind of 60-minute show. So that's the way I've kind of developed it. But I would also say that working every day with children for a living has actually forced me to try and convey educational ideas, but in a humorous way. Because I find with children, if it's not funny or interesting, they'll just lose interest in me. So.
Indeed. Now, you must be delighted with the reviews. The Radio Times gives you praise, says Donal Coonan is like a strange uncle, and the list describes your performance as wonderful, absurdist, physical comedy. This suggests it's all a little fast-paced.
Yeah, I mean, the show itself is quite fast-paced. I mean, especially as I've got to cover the whole of the curriculum of every single subject in an hour. It is pretty fast-paced, I'd say, yeah.
Indeed. Now, the venue, the Camden Comedy Club at the Camden Head, it's a 50-seater theatre. The small space must work well in creating the atmosphere of a classroom.
Definitely, it's very it's a very intimate space, and yeah, 50-seater. It is above a pub, but we pretend that we're not above a pub because most schools aren't. It works very well. I have performed the show once in a proper theatre, which was great fun, but I had to say to the class at the beginning that there's been a flood in the normal classroom, and that's why we're in the school theatre.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right. Now, Mr. Grebe sounds like a must-see. Donal, and you're building here on other interesting work you've done for Channel 4 and also Dave TV early in your career.
That's it, yeah. When I graduated from university, I and two friends, we produced an internet show for Channel 4 called This Is a Knife, where we edited and produced a show once a week all about the latest findings on the internet. And we did that for about 2 years. And then following that, I worked as a roving reporter for Dave TV, just going out into the field and interviewing interesting personalities, be they kind of comedians or anything really that took my fancy. So that's what I've been doing. I also used to work for a channel called Current TV, which died a death about 6 years ago.
Okay. Now it's also you briefly mentioned earlier on that you're a trained clown. Did you actually go to school to learn the art? I mean, is it tough to learn to be a clown?
Yeah. So I first got into clowning through a Brazilian clown called Angela de Castro, and I went on a course of hers, and it was called How to Be a Stupid. And basically, the point of that course was to get in touch with your own silliness. And then after that, I went to Paris to this school called École Philippe Gaulier. And then following that, I've carried on training with other clowns, and I also hold a kind of semi-regular clowning workshop in London called Clown Camp, where we get in different clowning teachers to teach us how to be stupid. But what's kind of, I don't know, the word clown does have a lot of misunderstandings. It's not really the type of clown where you dress up in big shoes and white face paint. It's more just trying to find your silly person inside you. And everyone has one of those. When they were 7 years old, everyone liked to mess around and make their cousins and their mum and dad laugh. And when we get older, everyone tends to become just a little bit more serious. Well, I certainly find that that's happened to me. So I have to work a bit harder to get in touch with my idiocy. So that for me is what clowning's all about.
Right. Now, like most performers, presumably you'd like this to be a springboard towards eventually leaving behind the day job and concentrating on drama full time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my aim. And yeah, I really love doing the other stuff that I do, teaching, and I also do philosophy with children. But I would certainly love at some point to make some money from comedy and from performing. So yeah, that's my aim as I turn 36 this year. I'm hoping that it's going to happen. So yeah, that's my aim.
Excellent. Now, the play is part of the Camden Fringe, and there's so much to choose from, but it would be well worth going out in numbers to support Donal on his debut production. Now, he's worked hard to bring it to stage. Donal Coonan performs his one-man play, Mr. Grebe is taking your class today. The duration is 60 minutes. It's at the Camden Comedy Club, Camden Head, that's 100 Camden High Street, Northwest 1, 31st of July to the 2nd of August at 8 p.m. Now, tickets are £7, concessions £5, and the website bit.ly/power to supply. Teachers, or follow the link on our website, irishradio.org. Now, Donal, listen, it's a really lovely talking to you, very entertaining. And listen, I wish you every success.
Thank you, Jerry. Great to speak to you as well.